Hello everyone, I'm going to leave Paul surrendering to the cops briefly. This is another Yelwonkk video. This is going to be a live reaction to the brand new roadmap video that just released. I'm going to be trying something new with this one in that I have literally not watched more than the first 5 seconds of this video to make sure it worked. Just a preface, I will know lots of things that are discussed, they will have been told to me in advance. However, I've not watched the video, so I'm not sure what's being revealed and exactly what is going to be included in the next 2-month roadmap, because yes, this is a 2-month period they're showcasing rather than 3, because as I understand it, especially the September update is going to be jam-packed. Again, I've decided to make this video here on the Yelwonkk channel because that thief Noli decided to upload some Payday Aces High video today. Watch it if you want. I'll probably link it somewhere in the description. Anyway, let's get on to the real topic of conversation, which is the future of Payday with Paul.
Welcome back, everyone. It's good to be here. We're going to talk about August and September this time. Only 2 months instead of the typical 3 in our roadmap updates.
As I said,
that's because we've got a lot to cover.
That's as far as I got.
So,
it's not because there's nothing else coming.
We've got another smallish update, and I say smallish only because the number of things, not necessarily how much we're packing in there. So the first thing that we'll talk about is we've got more contracts. We've also got another heist update for you.
So just so everyone knows, set expectations right for August. This update is going to be pretty much the playable beta we had earlier for Unreal 5. So the contracts we saw there, the heist rework we saw there for Cookoff, that's all that's going to be packaged in this update. As Paul says, the Unreal 5 stuff is pretty massive fundamentally, and I expect there will be some tweaks from the fixes that have gone through after the beta, or else why the hell did they do it? I don't know, maybe just to see if it worked. But yeah, that's what's planned for August as I understand.
Guys, this one's going to be Cookoff. We did a quick take on some of the bugs that we've got, so we've kind of cleaned up some of the level there. We've also now allowed you to unlimitedly cook meth in Cookoff.
Slightly taken aback by that. Yeah, this is actually something I missed in my original video covering this. Unlimited cooking is back. Is there any purpose to it from like a XP or cash perspective? Absolutely not. Cookoff is not efficient in the slightest. I think it's less relatively efficient than it is in Payday 2. Either way, it's not the best way of going about it, but some people have always loved it. And I actually think it's much more pleasurable to endlessly cook meth at a more reasonable time. Doing it late at night, not for me.
That feels weird to say. The other thing that we've done is we've taken a pass on the lighting in the level, so it will feel different when you launch into Cookoff this time around. And that's because we've got some new functionality under the hood that we're going to start playing with. And what gave us that functionality? Well, the August update also brings with it an update to our game engine, where we move from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5.
Okay, so as prefaced, and I also mentioned this in my video covering the engine update, the intention is the new technology they're talking about here is going to be the ability to sort of switch time of day at a touch of a button, you know? So I think the long-term goal with it, I've seen people say I confirm this, not necessarily, this is just my assumption, but the long-term goal is to be able to have different times of day for heists. Things like what we saw with Watch Dogs in Payday 2, for example. That wouldn't previously be possible, the way lighting's been set up in Payday 3. And now it will be, so I think we will see the return of nighttime Cookoff eventually, but right now it's just going to be evening Cookoff for the time being.
So we talked about this in the past, some many months ago. It's now finally happening.
Years ago.
The primary intent for this is to improve our workflow
at launch
going forward. Down the line, it gives us more tools and the ability to do more in a better way. Worst case,
especially
you should see no difference in your performance or your stability, because that was the thing that we really wanted to keep a tight control on. Is make sure your experience is still solid and stable when you jump in the game.
Okay, so that's exactly what I've experienced. If anything, it's probably been marginally more stable. I understand that isn't the case for everyone, and different machines will get different mileage. As I said in the last video, I'm operating a relatively middle-of-the-road PC here at this point, with 3080 inside. It ran probably better following the Unreal Engine 5 update, which I think from a technical perspective is exactly what they're aiming for, and they'll be pretty pleased with that. But I have heard some horror stories. Hopefully some will be ironed out by the time this update actually goes live, but time will tell. I know the engine upgrade to Payday 2 has been a little bit shaky, especially with modding, but I think if we can go roughly as smooth as that, mods again will be broken in Payday 3, roughly as smooth as that, that will be a relative result for the guys, especially with the things they intend to do with it long term.
But in best case scenario, some of you actually may see a performance improvement with the upgrade. There will be a kind of initial big download hit, but we think long term this will be beneficial for all of us.
Yeah, and the game file size is getting smaller like Payday 2's, but you will have to download the whole thing again. It is what it is.
To September, and this is our third anniversary for Payday 3, so it's a big month for us. It's exciting. We'll get some of the small stuff out of the way, as there will be more contracts, as you'd expect. We're also going to be introducing emotes that we talked about a couple of months.
Woohoo! L-dance time, baby. No, that one is sadly gone. The contracts, by the way, I love this, guys. Like, it's consistent, it's with every update, but I still think it would be ideal if you were doing weekly contracts, even with smaller rewards tied to them. It would just keep the cycle of Payday interest that little bit higher, because what we still see, even to this day, is update player count increase, the next week back down to a sort of maintenance level. That's not ideal. I'd like to see a little more consistent engagement. I think adding the contracts over time instead of in one big block would be a nice way of doing that.
They're making their way into the game. You'll be able to earn some of them via those contracts I just mentioned. We'll also have other ways for you to gain access to emotes now and in the future. The next item that we'll touch on is some changes that we're making to weapons that we think you'll be excited about.
This is a good
thing.
The
first one 100%. Is we're going to change the way that weapon mods are unlocked and utilized in the game. A big change that we're making is some of the weapon mods will become more universally available. This means that if you have a silencer on one gun and you have the exact same silencer on another gun, if you buy it once for one gun, you have it instantly unlocked on both guns. This won't apply to all mods, but we are trying to streamline the mod experience so that it feels more like when you see it in one place, anywhere else where that exact mod shows up, you'll have access to it.
So this is a little bit of a microcosm of what they've done with the weapons and the weapon collection stuff. I think what this really does, which is quite nice, is it removes all these little micro purchases out of the game. Not that the economy, not that anyone was struggling with their economy. I think for newer players, again, it's another slightly newer player-themed change. This will be a nice addition. But I actually think also for veteran players, just able to switch weapon mods at the touch of a button instead of having to go through one extra menu, it just makes that process a little less prohibitive if you want to try multiple different weapons with similar modifications. And let's be honest, the way mods are set up right now, pretty much the same mods will do well on most of your weapons. So making that a single purchase, it's certainly an improvement.
At the same time, if you've bought any of our previous weapon DLCs that include mods, some of those mods will be available on some other weapons going forward. So you get a little bit more like bang for your buck with those purchases.
That's definitely a good thing. It's a Payday 2 thing as well.
Weapon changes up our sleeve.
Used to make weapon
DLCs. So we're going
DLCs
to talk about weapon perks
massive.
That we're adding to each of the weapon classes. So each class will have a new set of perks that are sometimes locked into that weapon class. Maybe a few are shared with another weapon class. But these are purchased and equipped just like mods are in the game. We're also making an update to iconic weapons, which will either have a unique perk, which makes it different from anything else in the game, or outside of its class-related mods to give it a unique flavor.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm very pleased to see the iconic presets finally get some value. Could it result in these presets being like super meta? Maybe. Is that even a bad thing? Not necessarily. They're all purchasable in-game through the abundant in-game currency. In fact, I'm pretty sure I now own them all once they change the sort of collecting abilities in this game. This is something that, whilst we've not directly tested, partners and those involved in the sort of QA testing process have been shown this list of weapon modifications. I think they're quite interesting, and I think they are going to add a lot to the individual weapons you choose to play with and how you choose to modify them. In fact, I think they're going to add more than an entire set of weapon mods. Because right now, the only ones that really make an impact, maybe your scope, maybe a silencer, maybe your mag type, so you've got like quick pull. Outside of that, you don't notice a ton of difference, but these are going to be much more tangible stat benefits or playstyle adjusters, which I think is pretty cool.
The weapons that you own, you can jump into the shooting range, select a loadout, and be able to test that weapon on some of the targets that we have in
Safe House 2.0.
So it's a great way for you to see what does that gun look and feel like. Try out some new
more
loadouts
practical than that,
before you jump into a heist. We think it'd be a really fun way for you to kind of see and play with your collection a bit. Another weapon-based tweak that we're making is how you utilize sprays and stickers. We're going away from a consumable system where you buy it once, you use it, and it's gone, to a one-time unlock. So when you get a spray or a sticker and you purchase it, now you'll have it forever and you can use it wherever you want.
As it should be, because it was really just like shop filler in the past, or like infamy or renown level up filler. As it stands, it's going to be much, much more useful, much more practical, I should say, to purchase a spray and a sticker, and I think I will probably get more use out of it. Those one-off exclusive stickers and sprays, I have no idea if they're going to reimburse us. Like, if we've ever owned them, we can own them for everything. I would hope that's how it works, but we'll have to see.
We'll also be debuting our first paid Crime Bond collection this month, called Brute Force.
And this was obviously
featuring a fan-favorite weapon from the past, the Saw, available as an overkill weapon. Just like with the existing Crime Bond collections, this will have a mix of both gameplay and cosmetic rewards.
And you guys have seen my my mask coming to the game eventually, making full use of the new Saw. Yeah, so this is a paid Crime Bond. This is the way they intend to take it moving forwards. I'm not saying everyone will be paid, but it is very much the War Bond system from Helldivers 2. There will be ways to unlock certain elements, I suspect, for free and to interact with them. But in general, they will want you to spend your money on these crime bonds if possible, because this is very much going to be the DLC model moving forwards. I'm sure there'll be more on that in a second, though.
Speaking of cosmetic rewards, we're going to introduce a new type of cosmetic, this time for overkill weapons, so you can customize what that looks like.
Also wasn't aware of this.
We'll start off with the Saw in this Crime Bond collection.
And that makes a lot of sense as well.
Going forward, we'll have more of these for some of the past overkill weapons. But something you can do on all existing overkill weapons right now is equip charms, sprays, and stickers. Something that was previously unavailable for you to do. Now you can customize all of them going forward.
Cool.
For those of you with a lot of renown, we're going to have a way for you to steal some of the items in a crime bond. That way, if you want to grab some of those really interesting items but don't necessarily want to buy the entire crime bond itself, you'll be able to use your renown to get some of those items.
So again, it's leaning into that Helldiver system a little bit. It's going to give you value for your renown. So the amount of time you've put into the game, the amount you've leveled up, you will get value for that. Now, as I understand, I don't know if he's going to explain this further, as I understand, I think the intention is going to be to literally have consumable levels. So you level up and you use those levels to purchase things. So no longer is it necessarily oh, I'm renown 1,000, look how much I've played the game. It's more, I have this item that you can only get from being renown 1,000 and spending it. I think that's how it's going to work. But keep in mind, you can also just spend money to get that item. I don't know if people are going to be huge fans of it, but I think having a free path to unlock these things is cool. It's very much in vogue. It's what Helldivers did to great critical acclaim, so I understand why they're following it, and as you know, it's the same guy working on it. There are pros and cons, and there's certain elements of it that I think there'll be some level of teething pain with it. But I think crime bonds are cool, and there is a massive benefit of going to this model that we'll find out shortly, I think.
We'll have more details on this going forward, but we think that's a great way for you to try out some things, grind for things that you may want without having to fully commit to a full crime bond collection. We're also going to talk about a little bit of the gameplay experience and the feel that we have. There are going to be some updates to combat in this update. We've been iterating on ways to improve the combat feel and experience for all of you in 3 ways. The first way is clearer cop spawn directions and groupings. That way you have a better understanding of where cops are coming from, what they're doing, and how many there are, and what the composition is. The second way is better situational cop movement based on what is already happening in the heist. So when they spawn, how they move through the level, how they
right now half the time they don't move.
That way there's more of an understanding for how they're going to operate within the level. Third way is to make special enemies feel special. We want them to do their special ability more. We want them to feel more like
Tasers are doing it a lot more.
To assess and act on immediately, really making you focus on those enemies as a priority. Ultimately, our intent is that you feel less surprised, more prepared when cops are coming, when you're in a heist, that your loadout will matter depending on who you're going up against and what's happening, and that cops are creating more memorable and intense player moments.
Yeah, okay, so I can vouch for this somewhat. I have played some iteration of this enemy improvement set, and then I went back and played, God, what update must it have been? Probably, it was either the original Cook-Off update, so the August update, or the one we got before that, the 99 boxes one. I went and played one of those, and it was like, this is sluggish, or this doesn't feel as intuitive as it should. So I do think that this generally, depending on what iteration of it is we get, is going to be an improvement from an enemy gameplay, gunplay perspective. All I'm going to say, I don't know if it'll be that way when it comes out. Watch out for the bulldozers. I heard you lost respect for the bulldozers.
We want you to have that kind of oh shit feeling, or I've never seen that happen before, each time you're interacting with them. We want it to feel more unique, and more dynamic every time that you're playing. We were pleasantly surprised by the reaction we got to the story elements of the new tutorial that we introduced.
Yes.
And we're going to expand kind of that headspace a bit more as we introduce a new campaign mode. So many of you will be happy to know that we've completely rewritten the story based around existing heists so that the overall story flow feels better and is more clear and more in the forefront for everyone that wants to go through it. You can now play through the heist sequentially.
Okay, don't quote me on this because I genuinely don't know. I've not played it at all. My understanding or my guess from what they did with the Houston tutorial is that they intend to layer in a lot of the later stuff and the later heists earlier within the sequential narrative. So the Payday story, instead of it being the strangely stretched out monolith over 3 years almost, it's going to be more like this took place in a 6-month period. We took down Concord, we took down the Palatucci's, and that's sort of one Payday 3 campaign, which they can then look to build on, and they can sort of round off a little bit more. You know, my personal, what I would like to see would be one more Concord heist that actually finishes him for good, because he's not a great villain, but he didn't deserve whatever non-death he had. You know, give him something more to write him out of the story in a satisfying way, especially with this new campaign mode, and then move on to whatever's next. But we'll see how it turns out. That's my prediction for it.
And get a better sense of what's going on with the heisters throughout the entire game.
And yes, I will be recovering the story.
Hidden. This will be much more clear for all of you, making you more engaged, more immersed in the story and the world of Payday 3.
And yes, it will be very good for the prospect of challenge runs in Payday 3, because now we actually have a format to follow for the campaign, a little bit like what we have for Payday 2. So yes, you can expect at least one more Payday 3 challenge run. We'll see what it's going to be. Currently, I think the Payday 2 format just blows it out the water, but with the campaign mode, hopefully that's not going to be the case anymore.
Okay, that's a lot of content so far, but we do have one more thing for you because it is our anniversary and we do love surprises. This is a big one. We're going to be making all of the previously paid Heist DLC available as part of the core experience.
Okay, so you can see they are completely changing the way they intend to make money from Payday 3. They want to make money from Payday 3 by selling full copies of the game, because now buying the game comes with so much more value, right? They're going to want to make more money from selling war bonds. That's why we're now getting a paid war bond. And those war bonds are going to be surrogates for the weapon packs. The weapon packs, tailor packs, whatever else, they're all going to remain within the game. But I think moving forwards, we won't see more of those. Instead, you're going to see a war bond centered around a certain weapon or even weapon class moving forwards, and cosmetics within that war bond. So they want to completely change the way they monetize it. They've seen it work for Helldivers 2. Whether they have the install base, I do not know. I'm pretty nervous about this. I think selling heists is one way with a small dedicated audience to ensure your revenue stream stays as healthy as it can be. War bonds, when you've got an incredibly dedicated audience who play the game a lot, but it's very small, are they actually going to engage with the purchase, or are they just going to grind their way through it? I don't know. The economist in me is a little bit nervous about it. I think it is probably a good thing for Payday 3 as a video game and for the Payday 3 community. I think not locking players out of heist purchases is massive. The fact that you don't have to try and queue into playing with friends to play certain DLC heists, it's great. Now and the future, no more paid heists. It does make the prospect of creating a heist harder for the guys at Starbreeze, because obviously you're not going to be getting a direct revenue return from it. But if they have the player base to keep feeding that content, it's going to be 100% worth it. This is a huge gamble to try to massively increase the Payday player counts and get more engaged Warbomb purchasers. Let's see what happens with it.
This means that everyone will have access to all of our heists available going forward. And that doesn't mean just the existing paid heists, it means any future heists.
Bringing the community together was huge.
We want to unify the player base and let everyone enjoy all of the content that we put out there. So in this update, if you go into your heist selection menu, you'll be able to see all of the heists available for you to start on your own. So if you've never had the chance to play any of the past paid heist DLC, now is a perfect opportunity.
Hop on Boys in Blue, guys.
So because of those changes, because we're rolling all the paid heists into the core experience, that means we're going to delist all of the existing paid heist DLC on August 25th. So
and that
you'll no
makes
longer
sense.
be able to purchase it.
Well, it's kind of interesting, right? The delisting is taking place before the update comes out that makes them free, but at least I think it is. Also, August 25th is definitely the day of the next update, right? No brainer. Thanks for spoiling, Paul.
We want to give you time to get prepared for having all of it available in September. If you own any of the Heist DLC, you'll be given an exclusive cosmetic variant weapon. On top of that, depending on which Heist you own, you'll have an exclusive special edition version of the base Heist.
What the hell?
Mask themed after.
These are kind of neat, but oh my god, are they? It's completely overkill, Pat, guys.
The Heist that you own. You'll be notified of all of these things in-game with a pop-up depending on your ownership. So that's it for this roadmap update. I think you'll all agree that that's a lot. We've got a lot going on. We've put a lot of effort into this stuff. We're really excited for our anniversary. We hope all of you are too, and we'll see you again soon.
Right,
give you time to get prepared
before I sign off. Thanks, Paul. Yeah. So that's a lot of stuff we're going to get for free for being owners of previous DLCs. I understand why they have to do this. It does sort of suck. We're terrible as gamers, right? Like, yes, you're giving new players or players who've not purchased this great things for free, but what do I get? I paid for it, right? And some people might have bought shopping spree as recently as last week. I understand the frustration there. Yes, you're not necessarily losing anything by everything going free, but there's that feeling of like opportunity cost. So I get it, they have to give us back something. And so the approach to give us these exclusive masks themed around the heists and some specific unique weapon customizations, as long as that isn't busted with crazy weapon perks, it's a fine way of going about it, I think. We were actually asked if we thought it would be okay. I think it probably will be. It's a tricky one, right, to reward people proportionately, but also not gate things that players who can no longer purchase them will be annoyed about. I don't know, it's a tricky balance to strike. If you really want all this stuff, just buy all the heists before August 25th, I guess. Don't. They're all going to be free. I don't think whatever they give us is going to be worth it. The idea of this is just to give the players who've supported them and bought the DLCs over the years something back. So probably a sensible way of doing it. This September update is going to be one of the biggest updates Payday 3 has ever seen, a little bit like the Diesel 3.0 update was for Payday 2. And I think following on hot on the heels of the August update, August 25th update probably, that brings us over to Unreal 5, it's very much the new era of Payday 3. It's the Paul, the AK, the Jonas era of Payday 3. Will it be better than the previous one? I can only hope so. It's not like it's a massively high hurdle to leap. We'll see if they get there. I think you can expect more of these kind of massive announcements to come in the future. You know, a total change of monetization model. Maybe not that big, but I think you will see more about things like progression and skills in the coming months. This isn't just 2 updates because they don't have a third one planned, right? I don't think they'd be doing all this to go, all right, guys, we'll see you later. This is very much doubling down on their commitment for Payday 3 at the same time as Payday 2. I've heard some interesting rumours out there with regards to console updates and things. Payday as a franchise is the healthiest it's been in a long time, and I am the happiest to cover it, as I have been in the best part of 4 years, I would say. So yeah, we're in a much better spot. I don't want to get carried away with anything I've not actually seen and just heard. When did that happen in the past? But I'm going to leave it there, guys. I've rambled and done my live reaction take for long enough. Take care. See you very soon. There's a new Noli video coming shortly. And again, yeah, Aces High. Pretty cool game. I didn't throw up, I promise, whilst making that video. Bye-bye.